Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm just going to take about 5 or 6 minutes here to explain what is really a crucial homework for BSE 508. This is going to get you started. It's really important that you not begin this homework until after you have been assigned your particular project for 508 and 509, and that obviously will happen at the beginning of the semester. This homework is called Exploration and Research on Your Assigned Design Problem. Essentially, what I am asking you to do is a very detailed annotated bibliography that really details a lot of the specifics about your project, the scope of the problem, how big the problem is. I'm not going to read through the entire thing here, but how big is the issue or opportunity, the approximate size of the market, or if you're not designing a product, if you're designing a wetland or a water retention facility to protect the environment, like how many of those are needed across the planet? How many of those are needed in the state of Wisconsin or in this country? So the size of the issue, who's affected, how are they affected? And I really would like for you to dive in a little bit and look at some of the fundamental principles, the science, the engineering, the biology. It all depends on the type of problem that you're working on, like where you go with that. But the idea of doing this project, and I would expect you to spend several hours after you have really thought about this, and especially after you have submitted and then also reviewed the work of your teammates, and I'll talk about that in a moment. I really would expect each team to have a pretty good handle on what this problem looks like. And I would expect you to be able to go out and do like a 30-second or a 60-second or a 2-minute, like an elevator pitch, and really explain to people, why is it that this problem is important? Why are we working on it together as a team? There will be two parts to the submission. Obviously, the big part of it is to develop this annotated bibliography. The bibliography should have at least 10 high quality, relevant resources. I strongly encourage you to stay away from YouTube videos, from product literature, and then also just from like general web pages that you might find from companies or some other person who maybe doesn't have a real background or a documented background in the area that you're writing about. So I would really like for you to lean heavily on scientific articles, journal articles, technical papers, things that were developed based on research, things that are published by ASABE, information that you might locate on Google Scholar, and maybe a database like something called the Web of Science. By the way, I will have at least 3 videos that explain the ASABE Technical Library, the Web of Science, and Google Scholar in a little bit more detail. So kind of lean heavily on that sort of technical literature, including but not limited to peer-reviewed journal articles. I have included some stuff in here on the website or on the assignment page on Canvas that talks about annotated bibliography. What is an annotated bibliography? How do you do it? What does it look like? What are some examples? You don't have to follow this precisely. You might find some other resources from other universities or other libraries, but this is one that I like to follow, and I've typically promoted this particular resource for other students in past years. What we're really looking at with each one of these resources, so let's just say that you have 15 or 20, each one of those will be accompanied by an APA formatted reference and a few sentences, typically 2 or 3 or 4 sentences. Again, follow the instructions in that Purdue annotation or annotated bibliography, some of those examples. So what I'm going to have you do, each student will do this independently. Do not do this as a team. When you get done, you're going to have 2 things. You're going to have, number 1, a document that should be pretty well formatted. It will probably be a Word doc or a Google document. You can export that if you would like to as a PDF. That's actually preferred so that we retain the formatting. I want you, as part of the assignment submission, to include both the attached formatted document. Again, typically it's going to be a PDF file, but I also want you to cut and paste just the raw text. It doesn't have to be perfectly formatted. I would actually recommend that when you paste it in so that other people can look at it in the discussion window and reply, and I'll talk about that in a moment, I just want it to be, it can be straight text. If you need to do some adjustments of numbering or bullets or a little bit of formatting, that's okay. We will not grade your text submission that's in the text window based on format, but we will look at format and we will look at consistency in the attached formatted document. I hope that that makes sense. You need to submit that before the deadline, which is typically going to be at 11:59 p.m. on the due date. By the following Wednesday, then, I would like for you, as part of this assignment, to go on and look at the submissions of the other people who are on your team. Okay. So my idea here is if you have a 4-person team and every person comes up with, say, 15 references that they have annotated, together as a team, you're going to have 60 references. You're going to have a lot of material. You're going to, in a pretty short period of time, have amassed, like I said, 60 or more references. I would like for you to look through each of your teammates. So if you're in a 4-person team, you'll have to look at 3 other people's. And I would like for you to reply. And I would, again, like I always talk about, I want those replies to be substantive. I want them to be relevant. If you found things there that are interesting, make sure you note that that's something you're going to want to continue to pay attention to. And then the other thing that I would ask you to think about as you look at your team, your other team members in totality, I would like for you to make sure that you're noting any places where you maybe still need to do a little bit of further investigation. So 2 parts to the submission, you'll be graded on both. Number 1 is your actual annotated bibliography with an attachment and with the text. And then also by Wednesday of the following week, I want you to go on and reply to the other students who are part of your team. You can look at all of them. If you want to look at every student in the class, you're welcome to do that. But I at least want you to look at those people who are on your team, and make that reply before Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. after the due date of the original assignment. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Like I said, I'll be attaching some additional videos in this module for Google Scholar, the ASABE Technical Library, Web of Science. And if you have any questions about that, I'm more than happy to tape some additional information, or we could also do some private, either with the team, we could do a one-on-one, or we could do a small group if that's necessary. Let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to reading these. It's exciting. It's a cool time of the year because you're really getting going, and this is going to get you in pretty deep pretty quickly. So I look forward to reading your assignments, and I'll talk to you soon.